Welcome to Purdue, Northwest. I'm still out of breath from coming up 3 flights of stairs, so pardon me. Welcome to Mayor's Night Out for August. This is a rescheduled Mayor's Night Out from, I want to say
February?
February, yeah. I don't remember why we had to cancel, but it was something.
Snowstorm?
Oh, is that what it was?
So,
Seems so long ago, doesn't it? Anyway, welcome to Mayor's Night Out. We're going to go ahead, and I want to remind everybody, I know we've done these dozens and dozens, I think over 150 times, if I remember, my math is correct. We've done this. It's a lot of time in the community. This is all generated by written questions. We do have one gentleman that submitted multiple questions, and we'll do our best on that. Literally, 17 of them on one sheet. But other than that, we need other questions from the audience, and usually we go until we run out of questions, and when we run out, we're done. So this is also aired live on Go Hammond TV. It's also archived on Go Hammond TV, so if you get home and you want to watch it again, feel free. Well, all of them are archived on Go Hammond TV, actually. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to introduce the department heads. Then we're going to introduce the elected. First off, before we introduce department heads, it's always customary to bring the home council person up to address the crowd. So if you don't mind, I'd like to introduce 5th District Councilman Dave Warple.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, everybody at this table. I feel like the 5th District is making progress. I could stand here for an hour and tell you, give you street addresses and street names of stuff we're going to do, and it's going to go in one ear and out the other. I'm available. I'm a retired guy. All you got to do is call me, and rather than have me answer the phone when I do get a hold of you, I'll probably wind up at your door with a couple of grandkids with me until school goes back. But I've just made it a priority to try to put some things back together. I grew up right down the street here and haven't left. And my priorities: streets, roads, lighting, alleys, trees, all of it. Unfortunately, it can't all be done at once. One of the things we got coming is the ice cube over at Dowling Park, and I've had a lot of people say, hey, you're going to do something about, what is that, Mahoney Drive?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to do something. Yeah, we're going to get there. I've got money set aside just waiting for that to be done. It's the same reason out here. Dean in the engineering said, hold off and right out here on this part of 173rd Street on rebuilding it until the construction gets done. But we're aware of all of it. All these department heads are aware of all of it. They're so great. All you got to do is make a phone call. Any questions about the budget or anything, it's like nobody's ever not taken my call, and I'm having a blast doing this. So if you guys got any specific questions for me, I'll be here, and I'll talk to you after the meeting. Thanks, Mayor.
I'd like to start off and thank Chancellor Keon for the use of this building. We appreciate it very much. And Dr. Richard Rupp, who he was my boss at one time when I taught here. Great guy. I've known him for a very long time. Thank you very much, Doctor. It's good to see you. It's great to be back at Purdue Northwest. This is where I went to college when I got out of the Navy. I had 2 kids when I got out of the Navy, and I wanted one thing badly. I knew I had to work because I had a family to support, and I needed to go to school and get my college education. And Purdue, Calumet at the time, I took every single class at night, and I worked every single day during the day, and it really changed my life, this place. And it's funny because now I live about a block from here, and I did drive here, by the way. So, but I really love this school, and really to see what's gone on with Purdue Northwest since I've been mayor is amazing. Like, in fact, I know most of you passed up the bioscience building coming in here. Dr. Rupp, was that a $40 million project, what did I say? $40 million project. Chancellor Keon has a real good lobbying team. They did a real good job lobbying the legislature to fund this project. And it's another brand new building going up in our city. All the construction workers are building on it. And all of the students that are going to, I know nursing is one of the programs that's in there, right? Nursing and biology. And I mean, Purdue Northwest is already known for its amazing nursing program. And now you got a brand new building to relocate it in. So it's really cool. Thank you, Doctor. I mean, I remember when Purdue Calumet had 171st and cars drove through the middle of the campus. I know a lot of people remember that, right? And now when you look at what we got here, you got on-student housing, you got students moving into the neighborhoods, you got campus sports, you got brand new buildings going up. it's a campus, and it makes me proud that it's in Hammond, and quite frankly, I think it's one of the most important, one of the most important business developments in our city is what goes on here. Thousands of people work here. Dr. Rupp? How many? 2,000. One of our biggest employers for sure. I mean, Horseshoe Casino usually is in that ballpark, but one of our biggest employers, I want to say 9,000 students. About 10,000. And then, of course, their sister campus out there in LaPorte County also has a few thousand out there. But I tell you, it makes me super proud every time I drive through this neighborhood, which is every day, multiple times a day, because I live here. But it's really cool to see what's going on. And, of course, what's going on in Dowling Park. I know you guys have seen what's going on over there. Purdue and the city have a great partnership so that the athletic programs are based all out of Dowling Park, and when Purdue's not using them, we get to use them, and we bring in a lot of travel sports and stuff like that. But it's been a great partnership. I'm super proud to have gone to Purdue, and I'm super proud of what's going on. And Dr. Rupp's the Chief of Staff for Chancellor Keon, and I know Dr. Rupp will pass along our well wishes to the Chancellor. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the elected officials also and thank them for being here. Before we get started, if you don't mind, first off, Lake County's councilman, great friend of mine, former fire chief, but he's the Lake County Councilman Dave Ham. Good to see you, Dave. Councilwoman at large Janet Videz. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilman at large Dan Spitali. Great to see you, Dan. Hammond City Council President Robert Markovich. Thank you very much, Bob. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Of course, our 5th District Councilman Dave Ham. I didn't see him. 4th District Councilman Bill Emerson. He's hiding in there. And the School Board Trustee Manny Condelaria. Good to see you, sir. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to scan the audience real quick. I think I got everything. Great. Thank you all for showing up. We appreciate it. And now we're going to go ahead. And I want to remind you again, written questions in the back. Eileen, can you raise your hand? Eileen's got the written questionnaire back there. It's going to be a real short meeting if we don't get a lot of questions, which is fine with me, by the way. I'm not begging for a 3-hour-long meeting, all right? But we do keep going until we run out of questions. And usually when we do a question, we try to stay on topic. So let's say your topic was, what's going on at Cabela's? And we're talking about that, and you have a question, you're like, hey, I saw a building going up by Cabela's, and we can stay on topic like that with just raising your hand, right? But usually the written question starts off our topics. So we'll go ahead. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Nice to see you, Matt. You helping today? I am. All right, and Donna Munis, Special Events Coordinator. Nice to see you, Donna.
Thank you, Mayor.
We'll go ahead and start over here, Matt, and introduce the department heads. We'll give them the
Good evening, Mayor and crowd. Kevin Smith, Corporation Counsel.
This is your first mayor, is that his corporate counsel?
Second.
Second mayor, is that? The first was forgettable, I apologize.
Thank you.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Jeff Rutherford, Public Works. Jeff Smith, Fire Department.
Chris Sacalaris, Legal Aid Clinic.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Dennis Radowski, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Brian Poland, City Planning.
Ron Novak, Environmental.
Mark Gordish, Engineering Department.
Phil Talon, Chief of Staff.
John Doty, Hammond Police Department.
Harbor Planning and Development.
Milo Krasinski, Port Authority.
Heather Gray, City Controller.
Ann Anderson, Economic Development.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Mark Heinz, Parks and Recreation.
Ohana Miller, Community Development.
Carmen Panella, Housing Authority.
I'm at Prieto, Code Enforcement.
Ed Cursa, Hammond Waterworks.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Sharon Daniels, College Bound Personnel.
All right, so we got the roving microphones in the audience. We like to come up and bring the microphone to you for TV. I can hear you, okay? But we're doing it for the TV camera. So if you have a question, wait for them to run up and bring the microphone to you. And if they put it right in your face, I want you to know that's why, just so we can hear it on TV, first off. Secondly, when I walked in, I saw a heavy police officer presence, and I said, you guys know something I don't know? We usually have police officers here, but we usually don't have 4 or 5 officers. So without further ado, I forgot we have an award ceremony we're going to do before we get started, so I'd like to introduce Hammond's Police Chief John Doty.
Thank you. We recently started a new program at the police department. We have always given our officers letters of commendation, maybe a Chief's Day for something special they've done to the police department, something heroic, something above and beyond their average and normal course of duties. Not that they're not doing enough out there every day for us. What we did was we developed an award system. They get a coin, and there are several types of coins we give out. It can be for risking your life, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. These 3 officers were in harm's way recently and performed admirably, and I'll tell you what they did. We have life-saving awards, Purple Heart, for officers that save lives on the street. And often these awards are given kind of discreetly at the police department. And we're now putting them on a wall at the police department. Anyone who's invited to come by and see the wall and see what your officers are doing. But we rarely do anything out in the public, and we're kind of a humble department. Anytime I give out an award or a letter, it doesn't go to the Hammond Times, we don't tell anybody, we just kind of take care of it in-house. But we thought that, I asked the mayor, and we thought that you might be interested as citizens to know what your officers are doing. So, because a lot of people really don't see the behind the scenes stuff that we're doing every day, that are actually quite notable, quite large. And we just handle this normal course of business. So I'd like to invite the 3 officers up to start with, please. Cody, why don't you stand here? Sean and Joe, here, please. Okay, the officers are going to receive the Meritorious Service Award. This award is particularly notable accomplishment in the line of duty, showing outstanding initiative and achievement under adverse conditions with some degree of hazard to the officer. The officers receiving the award today are Officer Cody Baker to my left, Officer Sean Matheny and Joseph Durzich on my right, and I'll give you their little story here. Officer Baker responded to an armed robbery in progress. As he approached, he observed the suspect running from the business. With him not knowing the subject was armed, but he was, he gave a foot pursuit and chased him 2 or 3 blocks on downtown Hammond, and eventually subdued him physically and did recover items that were stolen from the store inside, and made an effective arrest. He did most of that without backup. Backup did arrive at the end. I happened to hear that call. I was very proud of him at the moment, and I still am. And the other officers, Sean Matheny and Joseph Durzich here. Officer Matheny saw suspicious males in an alley at 2 a.m. behind the gas station 6900 block of Indianapolis Boulevard. They attempted to speak to the subjects. Officer Durzich heard the call and responded. When Officer Durzich arrived, he saw Matheny struggling with the subjects. Officer Matheny and Durzich were struggling with the subjects when Officer Durzich noticed one of the males had a gun. The officers were able to secure the 3 subjects without harm. We believe the officers prevented an armed robbery of that gas station.
Thank you.
Again, very proud of these guys, and this is what these guys are doing behind the scenes every day. You know, they're not just out writing tickets, they're out there keeping Hammond safe from the real bad guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. God bless you, guys. I had to suck in my gut in that picture. All right, so we already introduced the department heads, and we did our ceremony, so let's go ahead and jump into questions. Hopefully we got a few more questions, right, Donna?
We did, Mayor. We have a
All
lot
right.
of economic development. Would you like to start there?
I think economic development's looking forward to tonight's Mayor's Night Out. So,
Yes, sir.
right, Ann in Africa? Yeah.
All right.
So let's go ahead. By the way, nice to see 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos walk in. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Fresh from bringing us a Chicago Cubs victory today. Congratulations. That's right. Thank goodness. All right, let's go ahead and get started, Donna.
Okay, Mayor. Is there anything new with the properties at 169th and Kennedy and the property at 165th and Kennedy, or anything in the Kennedy Avenue corridor?
Okay, I can have that and then we'll pass out to the experts. 169th and Kennedy, are we talking about the Triangle property?
The old car wash.
Yeah, that's nearly impossible to develop. I think actually, I wish things would have worked out different because I think the Jimmy John's would have worked in that little triangle over there. But it's a real hard piece of property to develop. I think if down the road, we're better off doing some type of ornament there, some type of welcome maybe to the Hessville Business District. I don't know how marketable that piece of property is. It's really not large parking lot. Really, if you had any decent sized building, there's not gonna be enough parking to accommodate it. And it's literally a triangle. And it's not the largest triangle either. That one right there, I know the Jimmy John's and that whole development appears to be doing well, right?
They're doing very well.
Good, and it's nice, it looks good. I know that Burger King's always busy and the Walgreens always busy, so I think that's a really good corner. And then you go 165th and Kennedy, and I know Freddy's doing well. We got the gas station on the corner, and then on the east side, we got that, car lot? On the southeast side?
Correct.
And then on the northeast side, we have our piece of property.
Correct. We have a piece of property that's vacant that's owned by the Hammond Redevelopment Commission. We do have a real estate agent that's actively marketing the property. The challenge is that we want to make sure, we've had some interest, but nothing that would really be complementary to the area. And so we've gotten really close. There's been a lot of interest, and then sort of deals start falling apart. We want to make sure that whatever we put there is definitely complementary to the area. So it's sort of like it goes in spurts. We'll have a lot of interest. We'll meet with someone, and then the deal may fall apart. But the property is being actively marketed at this time.
And Freddy's Steakhouse recently worked with our facade rebate program to upgrade the outside of their building. So it's looking really good. So we want to make sure that there's something very nice and complimentary.
For sure.
in
I
that
know
spot.
we had, for a while, I think this even goes back when Phil was in planning development, the Dunkin' Donuts that ended up going on the, 7500 block of Kennedy originally was supposed to go in that location. And we were excited about it. And then Dunkin' Donuts relocated further south, which is good because we still got it on Kennedy. But so anyway, that's the last I remember a real solid lead we had there.
Correct. And one of the reasons why it couldn't go there is because you have territorial rights for Dunkin' Donuts. So at least we were able to get another Dunkin' Donuts in the city. Unfortunately, we couldn't have one located there because it was too close to the location on Indianapolis Boulevard.
Gotcha.
Mayor, one other thing I wanted to mention about the triangle piece that's important. That is not a piece of property that's owned by the city, it's privately owned. And so therefore, there's been suggestions of businesses that I know that both economic development and redevelopment were not in favor of that didn't end up going there because of that. So we've been very careful about what may go there.
Right.
And as you said, it's very tough to develop there, but it's not a city-owned piece of property.
Gotcha. I've always thought about that as being some type of monument. I don't know, but obviously, that's the latest update on that project. Does anybody have any questions on those two corners? By the way, while we're talking about Hessville, we seem to be talking about Hessville when we talk about 165th and 169th and Kennedy. We've been working with the Hessville Business Association, and we've been learning a lot from a consultant we're working with in downtown Hammond, Jeff Speck. We just had a great, well-attended meeting last night. It was in addition to a few other meetings we've had with this best-selling author, world-renowned planner who's working with us on downtown Hammond, and we're sort of taking what we're learning in downtown and seeing if it applies to Hessville. And we're using some of the same philosophies that we're learning downtown and, working with the Hessville Business Association and seeing if they're comfortable with some of these concepts. But pretty interesting. One of our problems in Hessville, just like one of our problems in downtown, is the speed and the lack of parking. But the speed. It's a very fast corridor that doesn't make you feel like very comfortable walking across the street. Literally, Hessville, you have 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south. A lot of that traffic is coming from East Chicago going south. A lot of that traffic is coming from the south going to East Chicago. They're not interested in doing business in Hessville. They're using Kennedy as a cut through. And it's not conducive to business. It really isn't. And if we want that to be a successful, thriving business corridor, we got to get serious about slowing the traffic down and making it more walkable. And these are some of the concepts we're all talking about right now in downtown Hammond, but I tell you, we could easily be using the same logic downtown in Hessville also. I just want you to know there's been no decisions made at this point. We're working with smart people that are giving us good ideas, and downtown has a lot to do with the South Shore expansion also. If that South Shore expansion doesn't happen, we're sort of back to the drawing board. But I tell you, a lot of the problems we're experiencing in downtown Hammond, we're also experiencing in Hessville, and I want you to know we're working on it. We're talking about it, and quite frankly, in Hessville, I think we're even better off because we have a TIF district that could help finance a lot of the improvements we need. I mean, if we agreed upon what we wanted, we can move forward on it. I mean, we wouldn't have to next go out and search for money. It's there. So these are some of the concepts we're talking about. And I had somebody say, well, Mayor, I'm not interested. I like going fast on Kennedy. There's going to be people out there that like going fast on Kennedy, and they like flying through Hessville. And what we're saying to them is, if we do what we're doing, we don't want your traffic going through. We want you to go around. You can go to Klein. You can go to Calumet. You can go to the Boulevard. You can get around Hessville. That's a business area, and we're trying to make it more conducive for a successful business with parking, with slower traffic, you know. So anyway, I don't know if there's any questions on this topic. If not, we'll go ahead and move on. Excellent. All right, Donna?
Mayor, can you provide a status on the Walmart on 165th?
Walmart on 165th. I'm going to pass off. I mean, not that I won't, but I know they know a lot more Africa and whoever wants to take that.
We recently met with a company, well actually a company that's interested in locating to that property. We have a lot of people that are interested in the property. It has been vacant for a while, and we're going to meet internally about it. Like I said, that property as well as other properties throughout the city, one of our main concerns is making sure that one, it's something that's zoned correctly for that area, something that's going to be complementary to that area, because as many of you know, we recently constructed the sportsplex, and we have a request for proposal going on for the Carson's building, which is scheduled to be demolished very soon. So we want to make sure that there's something very complementary to that area. We did meet with a company that's interested in locating there. We're going to meet with some other, we have a lot of interest, but we want to make sure that, we want to take our time and want to make sure that it's something complementary to the area that will be there for a long time.
Thank you. Sorry. Anything you want to add to that?
Just again, that we want to, with the success of the sportsplex and the upcoming potential we have for the Carson site, we want to take our time and make sure that it's a good fit for the Walmart building.
I totally agree. In fact, yeah, and I'm sorry, I was in the middle of three things. Something, we had a developer approach us with ideas that we could have filled it.
Correct.
But we may have made a mistake by jumping too early. So I think if we're picky, we may be very happy about our pickiness a few years down the road, because that sportsplex, I still have people, it's been open for over a year now, I still have people coming up and telling me, oh my gosh, I walked in the sportsplex for the first time, it's so amazing. There's still a lot of people that haven't seen what we're talking about. And when that Crescent Prairie Scott comes down, and it, you know, whatever the next iteration that develops there, I think the old Walmart property gets more and more valuable and more developable. So, right? Cool.
Mayor, can you talk about what's going on at the old Kmart at Interstate Plaza?
Okay. You guys are busy today. Go ahead, yeah.
We have a very popular outlet called Ross Dress for Less and Dee Dee's Discount. They are in the middle of the build out now. So they're looking for probably opening in 2020.
Really? It seems like the Ross is going quick.
It is going quick.
Yeah.
Maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll let you know. Nice little ribbon cutting.
I'll be looking forward to more shopping.
Can you tell us what's going on at the old Stardust Bowl location?
Yeah, they're raising the roof, and yeah, I didn't mean it that way, but they're literally raising the roof, and they're making self-storage, indoor self-storage facility there. Okay, it's gonna be self-storage, yeah. And the developer's putting a lot of money into it, and of course, there's a lot of landscaping and stuff that's gonna go into it as well. That project was laying dormant for close to a decade. You know, and I actually at one time Purdue was interested in that, relocating part of their campus there, and that made us happy because Purdue does things the right way when they do it. I mean, just go drive down the boulevard and see, you know, my old campaign headquarters, which is now housing the commercialization center. They do a first-class job. You know, the old box office video, when I was a kid over there, and now it's been turned into a counseling center. It's just, I love it when Purdue buys a building because they do it first class, and it's good for all of us. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be self-storage.
The company has also proposed some landscaping improvements to the area as well, and they've also have proposed additional development to take place at that site as well. So it'll be self-storage, but it'll look very nice. They will have landscaping improvements, so it won't just be like a plain box building. We wanted to make sure that the building, even though it was self-storage, a lot of times you'll see self-storage buildings and they'll look just like a box. But they showed us some renderings and it will be very nice. And then they have landscaping improvements that will make it look very nice for the area.
It seems like that area is, not that I love these types of developments, but in that area it seems like there's a lot of self-storage and they're all doing fairly well. So I'm not looking for more, believe me, but in this case that project went dead for so long that.
And the developer is so pleased with the location that he's looking to expand his footprint and perhaps build a new commercial / office building there as well.
Oh,
so
see,
we're beginning to work with him on that.
That would be a happy ending to this story.
Absolutely.
Because I wasn't exactly thrilled with this development, I'll be honest with you, but you know, because I have a feeling 50 years from now it'll still be the same thing, and that's what worries me when we bring a development in. So if we did end up with the same developer landing another development, that would be a very, very happy ending to the story. But that's what the old Stardust is going to become, and they're literally in the process of raising the roof. So, yeah.
This is the same self-storage that talked about going into Kmart building at one time, and Phil, you had me go check them out in St. John, and this isn't like what you think a storage place would be. This is like, this might sound crazy, but it's high end. I mean, it looks really nice. The building's well maintained, and you can't really tell it's storage from the outside.
Right. I'm still, and that's great. I still don't love these type of projects. I mean, I'd rather have Purdue buy it, something like that. I mean, but you know, you can't always get what you want. I've learned that a long time ago. So anyway, thank you, Councilman. I appreciate it. Hey, before we jump into the next economic development related question, I want to break the monotony here and talk about a couple job openings we have. I want to start off with Marty. Could you grab a microphone? Marty. Hey, Marty. Marty's the CEO of the Hammond Sanitary District. He has operator positions that are open, and these aren't the easiest jobs to fill. A lot of times we fill jobs internally, but these jobs are a lot more complex and a lot tougher to fill. So Marty, could you talk a little bit about what an operator does and then what it pays? And there's 3 of them, if I remember right.
We have 3 openings.
We have 3 openings.
Yeah. And basically the operators run the plant. They turn bells, they look at a computer, the computer tells them how much is coming into the plant, if there's a storm coming, all the different things that make that plant run so efficiently. It's the type of job where you need to have a little bit of math skill because some of the things that you're doing are actually doing various percentages on mixtures of the process as it comes through the plant. So there are 3 positions that we have. Starting pay is around $18 probationary. After the first year, you're up to a little over $20. Great vacation plan like the rest of the city has. Pretty much sanitary district follows all of the other departments. And it starts out as shift work, but it's a type of job where a young person, middle-aged person can come in, have a great working environment, and raise a family, buy a house here in Hammond, and do very well.
But
so,
they are shift work jobs.
Yes, they are.
Is it rotating or are you on?
It's rotating. Right. And until we have that individual trained in all the different various aspects of the plant, through the different times that we run through different shifts. And then we have outlying stations, Kennedy Avenue actually being one of them, a pumping station that actually has a live person in. So we want to try to give them the well-roundedness of being and handling different things within the plant over the first year, year and a half. And actually there's some department heads that are sitting here tonight that actually have come through the sanitary district and moved on to other departments within the city.
Right. So how much does it pay for, Marty?
It starts out about $18 an hour, and first year probationary. After that, it goes a little over 20.
And it's overtime opportunities?
Overtime opportunities. Obviously, when it rains, I try to man the plant, all hands on deck, because of the kind of rainstorms we experience. But I will say, Mayor, over the last 2.5 years, maybe 3 now, we have not had one flooded basement, backup basement. Because because of the way that plant operates and because of the improvements that we made to that plant and more improvements coming.
Nice. I appreciate the Navy terminology too. All hands on deck. That's great. Anyway, so if they were interested, Marty, did they go through Ms. Daniels? So could you talk about what they would have to do if somebody was interested? Because these are the types of jobs, honestly, I don't know if we'll fill them internally because they're very specialized. A lot of times people aren't willing to work shift work. And if we can't fill it internally, then we go out to the public. So we're watching, we're talking to a lot of people on Go Ham and TV, and we're talking to you as well. What do they do if they're interested in that job?
So if anybody is interested in applying for those jobs, applications are available in City Hall, room 115, and they're also available online at gohammond.com under the Personnel tab. You can print the application on, you can bring it in, mail it in, fax it in, accept them just about any way. Or you can email me a resume also at the city website.
You're right on the main floor of City Hall.
First floor of City Hall.
Okay. Another job that we wanted to advertise that may not get filled internally, and quite frankly, jobs usually are filled internally, is kennel master at the Hammond Animal Control Clinic. So if you're good with animals, particularly dogs, you may be interested in this position. We did something a few years back that made animal control part of the Hammond Police Department, which made a lot of sense actually, because a lot of times an officer's on the street in the middle of the night and there's an animal running loose and they need to work, the animal control officer would need to work with the police department. So, Chief, could you talk a little bit about the kennel master position, how much it pays?
Yeah, we're looking up the exact, we just put that out, so we're looking up the salary now.
Do you remember, Sharon?
We just bumped them up.
38,000.
38.
That's what I thought it was.
Just moved it up.
$38,000.
Dang.
It is a challenging job. I would say it's a civilian counterpart definitely to the police department, as the mayor stated. It takes some special people, not just dog lovers, but courageous people to do this job.
A lot of dogs aren't nice.
Yeah, I've seen what they do. We go to raids and we'll be confronted by pit bulls and we'll lock them in a room and they're very protective of their home and their owners. And you got these SWAT guys, putting that dog over there, and these specialized people, they come in with the right tools and they'll confront the dog in as nice a manner as possible, and they always take them humanely out, because the alternatives we don't like. So they do a great job, but if you know someone that loves animals, wants to do some good, get the dogs off the street. We try to use no-kill shelters always. Every chance we get, so we try to deal with every dog as humanely as possible. But it's definitely an asset to the police department and to you when you see a dog or a cat running around your community. If they're a nuisance or otherwise, we don't want anybody to get bit or hurt.
So kennel master, also it pays $38,000-ish, give or take a couple $100, but it's a great job. Once you're in the city, I always like to point out, you get top priority when other jobs become open, which is nice. So once you're in, it's easier to advance, but usually the first job is the toughest to get, but once you're in, it's a lot easier. So kennel master, Sharon, who are they contacting that?
Same as the operator for the sanitary district. Come into the personnel office, print the application online and bring it in, and we will get you started on the application process in the interview process through the police department.
Great, thank you. All right, that's our commercial. Ready for more economic development questions?
Yes, sir. Coming to an end on this looks like the last one. What other developments are in the pipeline for the Marina District?
Oh, good question. Where's Milo? Milo doesn't get asked a lot of questions.
No.
Hey, what's up, Milo? You're right in front of me. We're in green.
We sort of.
Yeah. What's going on?
Well,
I know it's an economic
development question.
But any chance I have to get the microphone to you.
Gee, thank you.
How's it going up at the marina?
It's good.
Yeah?
Been a good summer, finally.
Yeah. How about the slip rentals? Are we doing all right? We're not even like a normal conversation. This is really how I talk to Milo in real life, by the way. And he usually tells me the same thing. Interesting fact, when I first took over as mayor, we had about 1,000 slips at Hammond Marina, right?
Yes.
A little under. And they were almost all filled.
We had over 900 slips filled.
And then we made a good decision in Hammond, which was to shut the marina down for over a year.
For 2 winters and 1 full season.
So all the boaters lost their slip in their neighborhood, and it destroyed the neighborhoods that had been there for years, and we lost half the boaters. But we opened Horseshoe Casino, and they provide over $30 million in tax revenue a year to the city of Hammond. So on one hand, we did a great economic development move, but the boaters, a lot of them got mad at us and left and haven't come back.
Correct.
We're doing better though, we're about,
We are doing better.
Where are we at?
This
400?
summer, we brought in 70 new boaters, 7-0.
right.
And it's really good for us.
And you see it climbing each year, we're trying to get back to
Slowly,
Right.
slowly, yeah. We had hit bottom close to 350. Now we're back up to close to 450.
Was that this year?
No,
Right.
no, we're back up
Right.
a little bit.
How about golf course? I know it was a rough year on the golf course too.
We're doing okay on the golf course.
Yeah? I mean,
Nicole's rebounded there. Yeah.
got a slow start though with the.
Very slow. The spring and the beginning of summer were real tough.
Yeah. But you know when it's a hot summer, it's maybe bad for the golf course, but it's real good for Ed at the water department, right Ed? Which is important for Hammond residents. You know, it's funny, when I used to work for NIPSCO, and NIPSCO would always pray for ridiculously hot weather or ridiculously cold weather, because our profits get better. You know, in Hammond, we make money off our water, and, you know, when it's ridiculously hot, we do pretty well as a city. So I know last year we had a really bad year in the water department, right?
Bad spring if you're too late.
Bad spring. I mean, I imagine, you know, because we have to, our water filtration plant handles 75 million gallons a day.
Correct.
And we're usually in the 40s or 50s, right?
50s.
Which a lot of people would say, well, hey, let's sell that extra 20 million gallons, right? If you're only in the 50s, then we got plenty of room to go. We have to plan for the worst case scenario, like July 4th, it's 103 out, right? And everybody's using their sprinklers and everybody's filling their pools. Those are the days you're really pressed, right?
Correct.
By the way, this started off as an economic development question. I've morphed into the water department. So anyway, Ann,
Yes.
how's the Marina District going?
It's going well, Mayor.
Yeah, I know we have a new Starbucks.
Yeah, we have a new Starbucks coming. They're shooting for the end of September, so look for a ribbon cutting there.
That's nice.
Very nice.
Remember the time we had the Starbucks ribbon cutting and our chief of staff showed up with the Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts.
I know.
Yeah. Is that going to happen
Now you're
again?
paying attention. That was Photoshop, by the way. It was funny. We played a joke on Phil, and Phil we were so proud when Starbucks came to Hammond, and we, had the ribbon cutting, and Phil made a joke about Dunkin' Donuts, and that was just a joke, right? So somebody took a picture of Phil like this, and this is when Photoshop was starting to, first come around, and they photoshopped a Dunkin' Donut cup in Phil's hand at the ribbon cutting for the Starbucks, and people were legitimately mad at Phil, like, how could he show up to a Starbucks ribbon cutting with a Dunkin' Donuts cup? That was funny, right?
Oh, it was real funny.
So anyway, yeah, we won't do that this time.
Our city planning department is working on the preliminary site for, I believe it's a Kentucky Fried Chicken
Really?
as well. Is
Nice.
that correct?
Where's that going? Oh, what's up, Brian?
Oh, a Taco Bell?
Taco Bell?
Sorry.
Yes.
Where's it going?
We've had a preliminary site plan right next to the Starbucks.
Nice.
It's still in review. We have not heard from them in a couple of weeks. Some of the comments that Dean and I sent back to them, so we're waiting to see where that's at. But it is a Taco Bell, not a KFC.
I like Taco Bell.
My mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that? I'm getting a good update on economic development. I appreciate all these questions. So. All right, next question.
Can we move on to Public Works now?
Sure.
Couple of issues regarding garbage. There seems to be a lot of littering and garbage on the streets, especially in front of private business facing the roadways. What can we do about that?
One area, I love this question, and I'm like a roving code enforcement inspector myself, and I use the Hammond 311 app. If you haven't downloaded that, we'll go into that in a second. In fact, we'll do a Hammond 311 app commercial right after this. But, one area that I always watch is going on 165th. It seems like those businesses on 165th, the subway and the bank and the law office, they forget that their backside is the frontage on 165th, and it has a tendency to get some litter over there. But that's what I usually do when I see a bad situation. I'll literally pull over in my car, I'll take a picture of it with my phone, I'll go to Hammond 311, and I'll do a report. It's under Mayor Tom, and it usually gets it taken care of. But it works when you're a regular citizen as well. A lot of times if you do something like, my road needs to be repaved, if you do a 311 on that, it's probably not going to be repaved the next day, let's be honest, right? Because you're talking about something that costs $100,000, right? But if you do pothole, if you do litter, or can you pick this up, they get picked up real quick. First, I want to, Donna, could you go to Gary real quick before I go over and do a 311 commercial? How's it going, Gary? I love doing this every time because Gary sits in the audience and he tries to make it so that he isn't asked questions. Gary's the head of public works for City of Hammond. Gary, what's your first order? I know the answer to this, it's a leading question. What's your first order of priority when it comes to 311?
Well, we come in at 4 in the morning, we go right to the 311, which we call them quick fixes, print them out and give them to the supervisors before they even get to work.
And the supervisor, like Jeff Rutherford is the supervisor.
Yes, of the 5th district, right. So we'll organize them from 1 to 6 districts and then we put them right on their desk.
How many would, like, Jeff, when you walk out in the morning, how many quick fixes do you usually have?
Anywhere from 1 to 10.
Yeah? Does it seem like it's heavier during the summer, or?
It absolutely definitely have bigger during the summer. Because we go from anywhere from brush to junk to potholes.
Right.
Throw everything.
But it's really sort of a way to skip the line in your case, right, Gary? Because a lot of people still do it the old-fashioned way. They write a letter, or they call up, and they get in line. If you do see quick fixes.
We do, it is going down a lot, the calls. It is the click fix. With it, when it being on Saturday and Sunday, we can come in Monday and have 150, 200 plus, easy.
For all the districts, right?
Right. And it's not just that, people will write into us and say, you know, hey, there's a sign down, or it could be a question for another department, so we just forward it to that department.
Cool. Chris, can you talk a little bit about the quick fix? Or on the subject?
So Hammond 311 is the app we're talking about. It's available for Android or Apple devices. If you have a smartphone, definitely get it. It's designed for people like you that are interested in their community. You're out and about and you see an issue, let us know. And it's super simple to use. You can take a picture of like a pothole or graffiti, heaven forbid, but you don't have to worry about what department am I supposed to send that to. You just submit it. We take care of that. All that red tape is cut. Gary's department is really good about finding the right department to send something to if it doesn't automatically happen. And
but all complaints ultimately they go through you first, right? And then they get, or is it like if I put it's graffiti, it goes straight to graffiti.
It goes straight to graffiti.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you monitor everything. You see everyone, right?
I get them all.
Yeah. But there's thousands of them, right?
We get like 1,000. We're having like 1,000 a month.
1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And
it definitely is higher in the summertime. So, and for some reason, the most that we get is large item pickup. So people are doing a lot of remodeling or something.
And Gary, when you first started with the city, large item pickup, they would call in for large item pickup before, right?
Right, and we make up a ticket,
right,
which was costly really because we could write up hundreds of them a day.
And now it's just there for you.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Saving time, saving money.
Yeah. And it's easy to use. I mean, I'm not the most technological person you've ever met. I use it all the time. I actually stop my car, pull over, and take pictures a lot. So if you're that type of person, and if you're here, you probably are, hate to break it to you, you're a community person, download the app, and it'll go right to the right part. And that's half the battle in dealing with government, in my opinion, is people go to the wrong place. Like the mayor, for instance, right? Everybody goes to the mayor with every complaint, and with the best of intentions, I want to take care of it, but I have 15 things going on at one time. Maybe one of them slips my mind. And maybe it's your large item pickup, right? Instead of going to the mayor, you're a lot better off getting your 311 out and you're going directly to Gary Gleason. On Monday morning, your large item pickup sitting on his desk instead of sitting in the back of my car because I forgot to get it to the right place. Okay, that's red tape. All right, avoid the red tape. Use 311. Gets you right in line.
And another nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about did it get to where it's supposed to go. You're going to get an email telling you this department has it. This is what we're doing with it, and then we'll tell you when it's fixed. So it really is a nice way to communicate with the city, and
cool.
It's a great app.
Thank you. Hammond 311. All right.
I called the pothole in April about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And it was fixed by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thank you.
The same day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. And by the way, another secret to working with our administration is my Friday morning radio show. We've trained the department heads. Everybody listens to the show from the city. And like, so instance, code enforcement listens all the time. I knew right? Because you get a lot of complaints on there, right? Obviously, the district supervisors listen because they get a lot of complaints, Gary. A lot of times during the radio show, somebody calls at the beginning of the show and they have a complaint. A lot of times by the end of the radio show, it's already been fixed because everybody's listening. So that's another secret. Friday morning on WJW, we have the mayor's radio show. Call in with your complaints there. I'm asking you to. That's how it's supposed to work. So between 311 and that, you know, you could do it the old-fashioned way and call City Hall as well, obviously, or send an email. So anyway, great question.
We've got the little cards, Mayor, that tell people how to download the app right here on the table on the way out. They can grab one if they're interested.
Yep, it's just like any other app you download. It's easy. So it's free.
It's free.
Yep. Right.
When garbage is picked up, can they be more careful when emptying it? Many times we have to clean up the alley because there's glass and nails and we have to use the alley to get out of our house.
Yep. No, I get this question a lot in the summertime, especially with the smell that comes off the trucks in the summertime. I was in my backyard the other day and I smelled the garbage truck coming about 10 houses before it got to me because that liquid that's just rolling around, and they turn a corner and that liquid like falls into your alley and it smells like a skunk nailed that alley. All right? I just want to point out in regards to our sanitation. We have 25,000 houses in Hammond. That's a route that these drivers, and we have to hit every house once a week. So 25,000 houses we have to do in a week. And these men and women that work in this department are moving at all times. And granted, you know, sometimes maybe they left a little messier than they were supposed to. And of course we hear about it and we talk to them about it. But I always try to remind everybody that they have to cover, Mark, 260 miles of streets?
Yes.
260 miles of streets.
Streets.
25,000 stops on those streets every week. And if it's snowing, they still got to do it. If it's 105 out, they still got to do it. So I do like to point that out. These guys are hardworking. Okay, and sometimes they finish their routes early, and sometimes they got to stay late to finish their routes. Does that happen a lot, Gary?
Not so much right now, staying over. Not so much staying over, but what happens is some routes might be a little smaller, so if this guy gets done, they work really good together. He'll go to the other route and help him. So, and like you're saying, the trucks, there's only 11 trucks out to do the whole city. And for overtime, I really can't remember the last time. Even in the hot weather, you actually got that ice machine for them, so they fill up their coolers and everything in the morning at ice, and they just keep going until they're done.
Great, thank you. All right, but we're not minimizing your question. I want you to know, and then we're going to make sure every time we fill out a written question, we forward the written question to the department head. In this case, it'll be forwarded to the Department of Public Works, and Gary will talk about it with the people that work with Public Works. And you know, we get some complaints routinely. This is sort of a routine complaint we get. It doesn't mean our guys are out there trying to make a mess. It's just, you know, I think if I was probably driving one of those trucks or I was throwing, I'd probably, you know, make mistakes like that every once in a while also. So, but we appreciate the critique. Anybody else have any questions on that? Thank you.
Are there recycle centers available for drop-off on days other than the regular recycle pickup days?
Jeff, you want to do that? Okay.
Recycling drop-off?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gary? No?
No, there is no recycling drop-off. And actually, there are a lot of the stores like Van Til's used to have those, but they would get them and people would be throwing clothes and shoes, so they're starting to eliminate them. And actually, working with Jaime, we've picked up maybe 50 or 100 of those. We're storing them until the owners come and get them. They put them illegally all over the place, but for a recycling, no, there's no place to drop it off except just wait for your date.
Okay. And recycling is a changing industry. I've been talking about this, and I don't know if I'm making people mad or sad or just pissing them off in general, but I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just talking about the reality of the situation right now is a lot of the recycling we put in that bin is not making it to where we want it to make it to. And that's discouraging for us because we spend $1 million a year on those blue cans and disposing of what we put into those blue cans. In my house, we fill up 2 blue cans every 2 weeks. I have a big house. We recycle religiously. It's something that's important to all of us. It's ever since China stopped buying America's recyclables, the entire market has turned upside down. When I first took over as your mayor, we had a city recycling, Hammond Recycling Department. And we made a couple $100,000 every year selling our recyclables We'd sell it to a middle person, who would sell it to another person, and they would sell it to another person, and ultimately it would end up in China. Everybody made a little bit of the money, and then it would go to China, and China would recycle it, theoretically. China stopped accepting America's recyclables over the last couple of years. There's no place for it to go. I mean, you could have a virgin piece of cardboard, and it's not getting recycled. You could have the cleanest piece of glass, and it wouldn't be, and if it's any contamination whatsoever, certainly it's not going to get in there. And you'd be surprised if you looked at our blue boxes and see how many pizza boxes are in there, or how many times they accidentally threw the garbage on the wrong side. Just stuff like that contaminates the whole lot. And it doesn't get recycled. It just gets thrown in the landfill. So we've been asking tough questions, and I know we're in the process of lining up a trip to our Homewood, right? Homewood, where our recyclables go. And we're going to take a lot of people with us, and we're going to ask a lot of hard questions. But I do know one thing: it costs the city of Hammond about $1 million every year to run that program. And I want to know that we're making a difference and it's actually being recycled. Because if we're just spending $1 million a year to feel good, I think we got a tough conversation that we need to have as a community. But there's been no decisions made on this; just a lot of open talk about the state of the recycling system and what we need to do about it. Hammond was early with the recycling center, by the way. It was an early community, and the market's totally different now. Hopefully, somebody else starts buying the recyclables. But anyway, another question?
Code enforcement related?
All right. Jaime, it's getting bored.
My neighbor has weeds more than 7 feet tall in their backyard. Can code enforcement be notified of this?
Absolutely.
Is the address on that?
It's 7400 Monroe.
Okay. This is a perfect one for 311, but also, in this case, because it's going to be copied to Jaime, and Jaime's writing down the notes right now, you're getting the same impact as though. But if this was put in last week on 311, it might already be cited. But we do have a process we have to go through. Let's say my grass is 2 feet tall. I'm clearly violating city code. There's still a whole process. You can't just come out and cut my lawn, right?
No, I wish we could. We're hopefully working on.
I wish you could cut my lawn too.
we're hopefully working on doing. So what protocol is we give a 10-day warning, green tag. Usually we put it on the garbage can. Everyone throws their garbage away, hopefully, so they're going to see it. If it's a vacant house, we usually put it on the front, so that way the neighborhood knows that we're on it. That tag is good for 10 days. After 10 days, if no movement is done, during that 10 days also, we try to make contact with the owner. After those 10 days, if nothing's being done, then we do send a citation. That means they have a court date, and they can tell it to the judge.
And that whole process could take a while, right?
It can take a while. Let's say
people get frustrated. I know you know this.
I get frustrated myself.
Right. So let's say I call up and I'm like, Jaime, my next door neighbor's grass is 2 feet tall. Do something about it. Right. It could take a month before you could actually do something about it.
Absolutely.
Because if we just go onto that property and start cutting it, we're cutting private property. People go to jail for that stuff. And I'm not going to jail. So we do it the right way. But it takes time, and it's frustrating for the neighbor that's looking at that grass. They're saying, this city is so incompetent. Why can't they just go out there and cut the grass? It's the law. We can't cut that grass. We have to get a court order. Once we get the court order, it's a continuing order too. You don't have to go back each time you cut.
Right. Correct.
They just give you a seasonal cut.
Correct. And we do that every year if we have to on a lot of these vacant lots or houses that have been vacant for so long.
We get our money back eventually, because when that vacant lot sells, we have liens attached to that property.
Correct. So yeah, it can take anywhere from day one. They might see the warning and they might cut it that next day to 2-3 months, depending. But in those, so let's say we set a citation, set a court date. Usually it's 3 weeks to a month out. They don't show up then we have an order to appear. That's unfortunately another 3 weeks out. If they don't appear then we can ask the judge for a cut and clean, is what we call it. And we have vendors that go out there and cut for us. So it could be a month and a half, 2 months, if we don't get any cooperation.
Great, thanks, Henry. Hey, Mark, could you grab a microphone? Mark Hines, Hammond Park Department. Why don't you talk a little bit about Hessville Park? I know we have a ribbon cutting coming up the second ribbon cutting coming up for the skateboard park.
That's correct.
And even though the kids didn't get the memo because they're out there skating on it as we speak, but the ribbon cutting's coming up in a couple weeks, right?
It's a soft opening, so.
It's
we're
a soft
doing-
opening, it's very soft.
So, we do, the skate park just, got finished, being constructed about a week and a half ago, maybe going on 2 weeks now. And, we're doing some finishing concrete work this week leading up to it, to make some sidewalk connections, and additional shade structure will be going in there. After that point, though, everything other than some punch list items at Hessville Park will be completed. So you have the new water feature there, the playground with the safety servicing, the walking path, the new shelter, the skate park. So a lot of use there, heavily every single day. So we're happy to see that.
That park
use.
was great. I love driving by and just seeing it's alive.
It's constant. Even on we haven't had too many cool days of summer, but even on those cool days, there's people in that water out there. So that's.
And one of the great things about that project was it was a partnership between the city, obviously, but Councilman Rakos is in the back, and who's the home district councilman for Hessville Park, but also 5th District Councilman Dave Warple also threw money, even though that's not the 5th District, he threw money into the project as well. So just really cool partnerships developed on that, and just that park is amazing. I just love seeing the kids in there. I love seeing the activity. You know, I know it was controversial when we went away from the pools and we went to this new concept, but I think if you compare even the pool in its heyday versus the amount of usage the park gets now, I don't think there's any comparison at all. I think it's way more active and way more used with the splash pad and the skateboard park, you know, as it was with the pool. We also got a big park project going right now at MLK Park. Could you talk a little bit about that as well?
That's correct. Let me leave before we leave Hessville. 3:30 Thursday, August 15th is the ribbon cutting for the skate park, and then it's a grand opening that night for the skate park. That Spone Ranch, who's the company that built it, they're going to have some professional skateboarders there, some giveaways and things like that. So that's something really interesting coming up there at Hessville. Going on to MLK Park, right behind City Hall, all the way down to Columbia. We've done that park in multiple phases. The first phase is just about complete. We're waiting on some special order plaques for what we're calling Freedom Plaza, which is a memorial area, kind of a dedication timeline area to Dr. King, who obviously the park is named after. We've updated the basketball courts. There's workout equipment there on the west side from Tapper to the City Hall side. So that side's been completed. The east side from Tapper all the way to Columbia is underway now. That'll bring about new playground equipment, a water feature similar to what's going in at Hessville or what's in at Hessville. It'll be in a different shape and different layout. It'll actually have a few more jets even than the one at Hessville. And also some updates to the existing walking path on the east end and the shelter, and as well as some additional parking. That's always been a challenge at that particular site for such a large property, so we'll have additional parking going on.
That parking over there, I think we got to make sure that doesn't become like a permanent parking lot for the neighborhood. I think that's something we got to, they're supposed to clear out each night, right?
Correct. It's part of the park, yeah.
Right, it's part of the park, but I don't want it to become part of the neighborhood, you know, because that's for the people who want to use the park.
Yeah, and that's important to say. Parking lots, we just had a park board meeting earlier this night, and the same issue came up. Parks close at dusk, so overnight there should be no overnight parking in our parks.
When you drive by at nighttime, there should be.
Yes.
Right.
But we will be putting signage up there as part of that as we complete that, and to make sure people know that. I think once that water feature comes in, that parking is going to be grabbed by people going to that water feature at MLK, just like it is at Hessville when it's so popular there.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we are looking at this second phase to be completed here by the end of the fall. It'll be late, but that is the schedule that we're on. And then a third phase would be actually to be going in and affecting Tapper, the street that goes through the middle of MLK Park, kind of raising it up and making sure that you're going slow to make you realize that you are in a street, but it is going through the park to slow traffic down through the neighborhood, but still providing
speed bump. It's like a long speed bump.
A long raised
the speed bumps are illegal in
tabletop.
Indiana, but if it's a long speed bump, it's
yes,
right.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Sure. I want to go next to my chief of staff, Phil Talon. You're on the board of the way, right?
I'm not.
Oh, I thought you were.
No.
Oh. Okay.
I'm on 6 boards, but that's not one of them.
Okay. Anyway, City of Hammond and Dean White's family donated $1 million each, and the YMCA raised $1 million to do an expansion that we've been watching. Started last school year. I watched it every day as I took my son to school, and now it's fully enclosed, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to look like it's ready to open. There's a ribbon cutting coming up real quick on the YMCA's expansion, right, Phil?
It is. It's scheduled for August 20th. I believe it's 5:30 p.m. if you want to get it on your calendar. Almost the entire Y has been completely renovated. If you're not a YMCA member, Just, you're gonna wanna show up and have a walkthrough. It's really cool how they modernize the facility, what it's gonna be able to do for the kids, for our communities, and adults, because the YMCA is from cradle to grave, as they like to say. So August 20th, 5:30. It ended up being about a $3.2 million expansion, and it's gonna be a great asset for the community.
Thanks, Phil, I appreciate it. Next, I got a few things I want to cover also while you guys are here. I want to go to the CEO of the water company at Cruza. How you doing, Ed? We have a situation that slowed down because of a change in financing, but it's the water tower on Columbia Avenue. It's very ugly and it's rusty. And about a year ago, we were heading down a route and we were going to finance it, and we knew how we were going to do it. And we were literally going to give control of the water tank to a company out of Michigan, and they were going to maintain it over 2 decades or something like that. And we completely reversed course because it made more sense for us to pay for it another way. And because of that decision I made, it slowed the project down a little bit. But the good news is we just bid the project last week, I believe.
That's correct.
And could you talk a little bit about the Columbia Avenue water tank?
The bids are due in August 20th. Actually, we've been studying this tank for the last 4 years. Considered demoing the tank and building a standpipe as opposed to it, but the cost was just excessive. So
What's this standpipe? Is that the skinny one?
That's the skinny one.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Right.
This tank goes back to 1930s. It is functional, even though it looks bad. It is functional, and it's a critical element in the Hammond Water Works pressurization system citywide. It is also a critical element to fire protection for Schleicher and South Hammond. So we've been keeping the inside operational, even the outside looks bad. Now we came into a funding source to help get it painted, get the inside repaired where the ice would shoot up the top of it, and we'll have that bid by the 20th. They'll get started, and hopefully they'll get it done this year. If not, it will be done in spring of 20.
But they'll definitely be working on it this year.
That's correct.
They may not get finished until spring of 20, but they will. That's great news.
Exactly.
And in fact, if you guys remember in Hessville, the Hessville water tank wasn't looking very good for a while there either. And a few years back, we completely renovated that tank and put the College Bound logo on there, and that tank is gorgeous now. And that's what this tank is going to look like when it's done. But it was slowed down because we started down a path that I wasn't comfortable with, and I reversed course, and that delayed us probably 6 to 9 months. And I think we made the right decision. I wish we wouldn't have went down the path like we did. I had to pull us back, and now we're going down the right direction, in my opinion. But the problem is that tank is ugly right now, but the good news is we've already bid it out, and it's going to be undergoing the process where it's going to be renovated. So
Exactly there. And we did paint the other 2 tanks within the last 3.5 years,
Right.
so that's why they look so good.
yeah, it's true. Harrison.
Correct.
Brand new paint
Harrison
job.
and Parrish.
And Parrish, right. Great. Thanks, Ed. All right, let's get back to the questions, Donna.
Okay, Mayor, sidewalks on my street need repair. On my block, 1/3 of the sidewalk sections are broken up and the rest are crooked.
Okay, great. This is one where you could do, we get stuff like this on 311 also, and this is one of those where you put it in on 311, you're not going to wake up the next day with brand new sidewalks. So this is appropriate to bring up at this forum, and we can tell you about the process we have for sidewalk repairs. We have a gentleman that's one of his main responsibilities, works in the engineering office. It's not Mark, but he works with Mark. Mark, could you talk a little bit about the sidewalk repair program and what you would recommend for somebody with a complaint like this?
Actually, 311 is probably the best route to go because
To
there is
put it on your radar, right?
Correct. There's a record of it. It's disseminated to the right department. The sidewalk program started many, many years ago as a 50-50. And since the gaming funds came, we, the city, through the mayor, initiated other cities, towns, they have 50-50, they have programs that they hire a contractor, they're responsible. But in the city of Hammond right now, for a damaged sidewalk, because the mayor and the councilman are so much into making it safe for the public to walk, to skate, to ride their bikes, some young kids on a bicycle or something with a 4-inch flip, that's dangerous. So the councilmen give funding through this program, and it's free to the residents. They submit their names, addresses, phone numbers, and we take a running list, and depending upon the funding source, usually somewhere in $400,000 to $450,000 a year is done. That equates to, let's try to put it in miles, probably a couple miles of sidewalks that we do throughout the city. And they go from district to district. Jonathan is the one that runs the program. He's really good keeping track of everybody. And there's hundreds upon hundreds of names, but that's the easiest way to try to track it.
So you would recommend they do put it in 311?
Yes.
Just put it on the radar.
Right. If they call in, we get, just like any other departments, your office gets 50, 60, 100 calls and write it down on a note. Then Jonathan does put it right into his spreadsheet and keeps a running total.
And Jonathan is really good about coordinating with the district councilman and trying to swing deals, right? Like he'd approach Councilman Werple and say, Councilman Werple, would you do 50,000 if the mayor matches your 50,000 and he has 100,000 he can go do a lot of sidewalks with?
Yes, that's exactly what he does, so I'll give it to him.
Councilman?
Just, I don't know if that's the 5th district, but the 3 years I've been on the council now, the first year I gave 100,000, or the 5th district gave 100,000. Last year we did like 260,000 worth of sidewalks because there were some streets that were repaved, and rather than go in there and piecemeal all the broken pieces and the waves in it, we just decided that we're gonna do all the sidewalks. I do know that in the 5th district, according to what Jonathan's told me, it's about $4 million to do all the sidewalks that are needed to be done in the 5th. And like everything else, it has to be, you know, I give at least 100,000 every year, and I think this year it's going to be around 250 by the time we're done. So.
And think about it, if that was, Councilman Werple said it would be $4 million to do every sidewalk in the 5th district that needed repair. And I know what Councilman Werple got in gaming revenue last year, got $1.5 million. And that includes streets and park projects that he wants to do. So you have all these bills and you have a little bit of money to do a lot. So that's a little bit of what we face all the time. And we try to prioritize, and Councilman Werple tries to, you know, leverage his money with my money so we can match it together. But it's pretty. So anyway, I appreciate putting the complaint in. That's how it works. We mark it into our database, and we'll try to follow it up. So thank you very much. I'd like to move the microphone to Phil Taylor so he can talk a little bit about a project that is near and dear to his heart. Is the Ice Cube project over there at Dowling Park, the new hockey complex that's going in, the hockey rink.
Yeah, this has been a project we've been very excited to talk about, and it's kind of apropos that we're talking about it in the Purdue, in a Purdue building, because at the end I'll tie that together. This is the hockey rink that looked at many different communities in Northwest Indiana to find a location. And we're proud that we were able to sit down with them and get proactive with them and figure out a way to get it done. And if you drive by 8094 in Kennedy, obviously you can't miss it. It's going up. The goal is right now for them to be open at the end of October. Hopefully that timeline stays the same, but it's the paneling's going up right now. Obviously the entire structure, all the steel parts of the structure is all done. But the really neat part about this is that once Purdue found out that we were getting a new hockey rink in Hammond, they actually met with the new owners and decided immediately we're going to start a team. They hired a hockey coach. They've been recruiting hockey players left and right. We've been getting a lot of information from them. First time ever they've had a hockey team at Purdue Northwest. So we're really excited about this project. We think it's going to have an impact well beyond just, you know, folks that like to play hockey casually.
Thanks, Phil. And we've been in communication with neighbors of this facility that are really worried about the traffic that's going to be generated, and we share their concern. And I know good friends of mine literally live right across the street from Project Ice Cube, and we are going to have to deal with traffic that's developed at that situation and make the traffic flow different so that the traffic from Ice Cube can't get into the neighborhoods and use the neighborhoods as a shortcut to get out of there and stuff like that, because that would be a nightmare. So we're in the process of doing that right now, where it might just be as simple as a curb that cuts the traffic off from going into the neighborhood. But we are definitely, that has got to be taken care of before it opens. Absolutely. So, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and move on. What's up, Don? How are we doing on questions?
We've got a few more. We haven't covered our police matters yet, but they are coming up.
All right. Sorry, Katie's getting ready.
First, let's do a little housing. The
All
writer
right.
here feels that we have a lack of single-family housing. What can we do about that?
We can still go to Carmen.
I can't do single family housing.
But yeah, we don't do single family housing, but I know you do have a lot of housing available through the Housing Authority. I was so
Yes,
excited.
through the
You don't
Housing
get a lot of questions during Mayor's Night. I was so excited. I thought you were going to finally get a
I
question.
don't, and I always leave bummed out of here. I don't even talk. I always want to hold the
So,
microphone.
what's going on in
and
the
I
Housing Authority before we jump into this question?
With the Housing Authority, we actually, we oversee the Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly the Section 8 program. We also have low-income housing tax credits. So we have 5 developments, the Saxony Townhomes, Golden Manor, American Heartland Homes 1 and 2, and Flagstone Village.
And since we've all taken office, literally the entire Hammond Housing Authority has been remodeled, the entire thing, right?
Yes.
Like every single building in the old Columbia Center has been remodeled.
Correct. The entire 40 acres there have been redone.
And I know you're in a project right now at Hooper Humphrey Homes up in downtown Hammond, right? You're in the middle of a project there.
Yes, we're renovating the interior. We're doing just painting, flooring, lighting. We're trying to.
How many people live in that building?
That building's 118 units.
Wow. And it's one person per unit or one or two?
1 or 2.
Yeah.
There's only a few units with two people. They're usually just one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anyway, got some microphone time.
Hey, I got to hold it for today.
Thanks. So the question was about lack of single-family homes in Hammond?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Mayor,
Yeah.
there's a number of us as department heads have been meeting internally, led by Corporation Counsel Kevin Smith.
Really?
And as a matter of fact,
What's
we have
going on here? I don't know
we have-
anything about this.
Every now and then you wave to us.
yeah.
We meet in Phil's conference room.
Really?
So it's quiet.
All right. Something shady.
So yeah,
It's like a coup d'etat going on. Right?
Oh, not at all, believe me. No, we've been meeting very quietly, but trying to address and look at properties that that have vacant lots of sizable, and we're looking at putting together a plan so you can take a look at it
Okay.
and be able to approve us moving forward with building your homes.
Dennis Radowski's part of that too, right?
Yes, he is. Dennis is.
Grab the microphone. Dennis is another guy that never gets asked questions during Mayor's Night Out. How you doing, Dennis? One of my neighbors, good resident of Hammond's 5th District.
Everything's going well.
Did you drive here or did you walk here?
I drove. I walked about during the day.
I'm literally like a block and a half from my house and I parked in the parking lot and walked over. It probably took me longer to walk in the parking lot here than it would have taken to walk from my house. Anyway, did you hear the question?
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
Yes, we
Because you're United Neighborhoods Inc. and you help rehabilitate houses and convert them over to single family houses, which is great.
But we basically acquire vacant housing, single family housing in the city of Hammond, rehab it and sell it to individuals who are income qualified through HUD. And it's basically HUD money that we use to facilitate those projects. We did have NSP. NSP, the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, was very successful. I think we did a total of like 65 houses, and we're in the process of closing out both programs. The programs were so successful that they went probably 3 years beyond their original.
Because you kept flipping and getting more money, right?
Yeah. The 3 NSP1 started out at $3.6 million, and we probably expended with acquisition, rehab, down payment assistance in excess of $7.1 million.
So you doubled the money. Yeah, I remember you telling me one time we were one of the more active communities in America with that program. I don't remember exactly.
We were probably in the top, at the end, one of the top 10 recipients of funds out of 313 recipients in the country.
You know, this question is near and dear to my heart because when I first got elected mayor to this time, it's what I focus on is residency. I realize that we have a lot of people that rent homes here. I've rented homes for a number of years also. But like our goal is always to convert that house into a single family house. If it's a cut up, we want to strip the walls out of the cut up and convert it over to a single family house. That's what it's all about in this community. And that we have residency ordinances that requires that the employees that work for us have to live in the city. It's all about residency. So Bill, did you have something you wanted to
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, Mayor, you may recall, we actually received a letter from a resident. And this was maybe 3 months ago, and it just said that, hey, why are we not focusing on looking at more opportunities for new homes in the city. And that's when a group of us started sitting down and started talking about, okay, we've seen neighboring communities, we see the sales market, the home sales market is just going crazy right now. I know we have a realtor in the audience. So how can we take advantage of this? So that's why we started looking at or identifying different properties or developments that we thought we can do, maybe not just one home here or there, but maybe a little larger infill development, maybe 10 to 15 homes or something like that. And that's the discussions we're having. So the point is, we do get recommendations from residents from time to time. We take them seriously, and right now we have the Lost Marsh development that Mylan talked about. There's one in Hessville that we call the Florida Street Project that we're talking very much about right now. There's the Millennium development that we're talking quite a bit. So it's just identifying funding, but it is a priority for us to look at new homes.
That's great, by the way. Mylan, could you talk a little bit about the Lost Marsh Estates?
Sure.
Yeah.
Success, Mayor.
I agree.
That was
I
fantastic.
just drove up there and I saw the townhomes going up.
Townhomes going up,
right.
so those paired homes are going in now.
Yeah.
And the first.
In fact, I talked to one of your employees and she told me she sold her home in Hammond, and it went like that for the exact asking price, and she bought one of the townhomes on New York.
She did. She needed to downsize a little bit, and this is perfect. It's now within 5 minutes of a marina, so
yeah,
that's great. It's good for her. And one of the single-family homes back on Deedlow Parkway is being constructed.
Yeah. Which one?
Lot number 6, so it's closer to New York Avenue.
That's what I thought.
Gotcha. So very good.
And then, you know, we were talking also, Phil mentioned the Millennium Project. It's something that Dennis was talking about earlier. That's a project that was started under Mayor Deedlow's administration, and it's right over there off of Michigan, just north of Michigan, just west, it's just south of Michigan, just west of Calumet. And this development, really nice houses in the 2nd District, did a really good job of selling these homes, and then it just stalled out. And then when our administration took over, it was like independent of us. But they ran out of money, if I remember correctly. Dennis, could you help me out with this? Phil, anybody with Millennium?
Millennium, the Millennium Project was offered to us by the Millennium Group, which basically went out of business about a year ago. And it was a community that was built by the city,
right,
and then donated to the Millennium Group.
Right.
And they,
but the city in the 90s, right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
And they developed about 13. There are 28 lots. I think they developed 13 of them.
Yeah.
And
they're nice houses.
They're beautiful.
It's a nice
houses.
neighborhood.
Yep.
But it's just like stalled out. And they have half of their development left, right?
There's 15 houses, 15 lots remaining.
So we were approached by Millennium and asked if it would be possible if the city could assume responsibility and start redeveloping it like we did with, you know, with Parish View and Hessville, like we're doing with, you know, Deedlow Parkway, with Lost Marsh Estates up in Robertsdale. If the city were in charge of this project, we would be building homes as we speak.
Yeah, there's just a legal issue because it's a not-for-profit trying to donate to another not-for-profit that's trying to could donate instead to a government entity. So legal counsel's working on it, and everybody's in agreement what we want to do. We just have to find a way to do it.
And we can do it because we've done it. We did it in Hessville, we did it in Robertsdale. We'll do it here also, but we need to get control of the project. Kevin?
Yeah, Mayor, just to add on just a little bit, is that I think you have, you know, one of the reasons we've been meeting is a challenge that you gave out to us and said, look, one of the things as an old city is that we have a housing stock that is older, but it seems like when we get new houses going, they're successful. And you talked about, and you know, even Lincoln Lakes, just got rid of an apartment complex that was in real bad. Mylan knows this because his mom lives over there. And got rid of this.
7 homes there?
5.
Yeah.
But they all sold like that
Yeah.
for market rate. The reason that worked was because you said, you know what, I'm going to give some of my gaming money to start the first house, and then let's see how it goes, and just
Sell the
keep
first
rolling.
house, get the money, buy the second one.
You did the
sell
same
the
thing in
second one,
Parish View, Mayor, and it worked. And and just to add a couple other locations we're looking at, Forsyth Square, Mylan brought up, and also in Jacob Square. So there's a lot of different projects that are on the table that we're talking about that I think we're going to see not only current homes are hot on the market, but also new homes are really hot because people want to stay. And instead of, if they can buy a new home in Robertsdale or in another part of Hammond, Hessville, you tend to see that they'll stay. You know, and that's why I think it's such a great thing that you're doing both a mix of new homes and, of course, the current market is good too.
Thanks, Jim. All right, we're doing great. Let's keep moving on it.
Okay, Mayor, we can move forward with our police matters now. Where in Hammond may we drop off expired prescription medications?
We just put. Okay, in our lobby, when you walk in, we just put in a permanent box. We used to only do it when the DEA sponsored it, but we put in a permanent box in our lobby at the station 509 Douglas.
Thank you, Chief. We have 2 people who live in the 500 block of Spruce that are complaining about drug activity that they think is quite organized, and they'd like some assistance with that.
I think we should probably.
Want to table that for after and have them come and see you?
Whoever that is, catch me on the way out.
Off camera.
Yeah, I'll get the information. We'll get into narcotics right away.
This is, by the way, a lot of times at Mayor's Night Out, we have situations like this all the time. We appreciate it, we follow it up, but we like to do those ones off camera. There's also a feature on Hammond 311 that allows you to do anonymous tips also, right?
Correct.
Do you get a lot of those, Chief?
We do.
Yeah.
Drug activity, every police action we do.
So you can do that on Hammond 311 as well?
Yes, and every, like the other agencies, we check it, Community Affairs checks it every single morning. And if it's something that needs to go to narcotics, it goes right away. You can send us a picture of a car that you think is involved in a transaction. It's not going to be there when the officer responds.
Gotcha.
So we have
Smart.
it. We got that documented, and you give us narcotics, something to work with.
That's great.
So we would appreciate that, actually. That'd be
There you
helpful.
go. Another use for Hammond 311.
Mayor, how has Ring and the Neighbors app impacted the police department, and is there going to be another Ring promotion?
Okay, great question. I'll pass off to the Chief in 2 seconds. I can tell you one way that I love it is through that Neighbors app. I think that is really cool. And, in this area, I live in this part of the city, I drew a circle around Purdue and my house and my neighborhood, and every time somebody reports suspicious activity that they have the video for, it goes right into that circle, and I see it. There could be something that happens on Woodmar, on 500 block of Woodmar, that I wouldn't know about because it's blocks away, but it's right there on that Neighbors app, and I see a suspicious person going up. Like the other day, like somebody stole somebody's mail. It was right on the Neighbors app, and you saw what the person looked like. Came up, went right into the mailbox, and took off. I mean, that's amazing. And your whole neighborhood would know, and if they see that same person coming up or anywhere around their house, they could call the chief or they could call the police department directly. I think technology is great. I'm a technology guy, and I tell you, I think one of the reasons the Hammond Police Department is doing so well is because of the technology we supply our officers with. Officer Holbrook back there, on his chest, has a camera that when he interacts with the public, he hits that camera and it interacts, it videotapes you and it audio tapes you and him. And everything that happens on there, and I tell you, it becomes very valuable when we have situations where maybe somebody alleges a police officer was acting unprofessional. The police officer's bosses know exactly what happened because they see the whole thing, they hear the whole thing. We had a really bad fight at one of our schools last year, and we all, like the chief and myself, there was a big complaint. It was sort of a hairy situation. We looked at every officer's body cam that responded to that. And the school city did, and we knew which kids were instigating, we knew which officers were responding. I love technology. And of course, the ring that we have around our city, the LPR camera system, has helped the chief and the officers a number of times catch the bad guys. And I realize it's Big Brother-ish, I get that, but I tell you what, we need to have a safe community, and if it's technology that's gonna help us be a safe community, then God bless that technology, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't find it any coincidence that Hammond's having a great statistical crime year, and our police department has all the latest technology. I think they go hand in hand, personally.
They do, absolutely. And the ring is a great new component of that. 500 units went out the first time, so that's 500 more homes in Hammond that are alarmed. Most of them have video as well. The video is something, as soon as a crime happens in Hammond, we canvass the area for any business on the travel route. We use our LPR cameras to determine the travel route in most cases. Then we check for video at homes and businesses on the way out. Most of the ring customers have registered, so that's easy for us. They've already said that, hey, we want to be part of this program, and we contact them, we get their permission to get access to their data, their videos. We download it right away. When we first opened it up, we had a woman claim she was shot in Hammond on a porch. She didn't know there was a Ring doorbell behind her. That interaction was captured. She was not shot in Hammond at all. She went somewhere else, some other city, and got shot, and then tried to hang that stat on us, so we disproved it. So that was kind of nice. We didn't pick up that shooting. The homicide, one and only in Hammond, very proud of that this year, on 165th. You know, we had the LPR camera, had that car coming in Hammond and leaving, so we knew the route of travel. They went down to the Speedway on Calumet. We got the video there. More importantly, we got the video on 165th from a Ring camera. It showed that it disputed his story. He said the person that got shot caught up with him during the road rage incident. That camera showed the other way. Showed he caught up to the victim. So that changed the charges we filed. So very beneficial. They all count. Please get involved if you're not. It makes your home safer. It makes our job easier.
Thanks, Chief. Good question. Anybody have any questions about crime or Ring
Are we
camera?
going to do another Ring promotion?
Good question. If the need's there, we will. I'd be honest, I thought we were going to go 500 right off the bat. It took us about a week, I think. A week to get rid of 500, which is great. By the way, Ring thought we ordered too many. They were sort of looking at us out of the side of their eye when we said 500. If we thought we could get rid of another 500, I'd be open to it. I think City of Hammond put in $35,000 towards that. Ring matched us, and then the citizen who bought the Ring camera got it for 1/3 of the price. So I would, if we thought maybe a few more months down the road, we do it again if the need is there. But no, I'm totally open to it. I think the more people that have them, the better and the safer we all are. Fits right in with the LPR camera system, really.
The next question, Mayor, they kind of don't know what to do about this. They bought a house that they believe the city supplied a powerful bright light on a 15 to 20 foot pole in the backyard next to the garage. The bulb's making noise, so they stopped using it, and they want to know if the city will replace the bulb. It is very beneficial because it's at the T alley between Alcott and Knickerbocker, just north of 169th. How do they know if that was city supplied, and how can they get it fixed?
Mayor, I can speak to this one for you.
Sure, you know about it?
So, well, I don't know about that specific one, but if it is a city-owned street pole, it was part of our energy efficiency program that we did,
gotcha.
and we actually put on each of our poles a sticker that is scannable, that you could scan and send to 311. So if it's our pole, we'll have the exact location and be able to respond to that. If it's not, it will be able to be looked up on the NIPSCO website.
Right.
The specific light I think you're talking about was just changed over to LED lighting too by
Yeah.
NIPSCO.
Okay. Oh, so it's an NIPSCO pole?
Yes, it's a NIPSCO pole, the one that, I think,
You're not on.
you're talking about the T by 169?
Yeah. Alcott 169. Alcott. They said Knickerbocker, Alcott 169.
Yeah, those were just recently in our neighborhood when NIPSCO changed out their poles to the LED lights now too.
Mark Gordis is right here. We're going to take a copy of this complaint, forward it to engineering. Mark, could we have the person, whoever's questions is, maybe come up to you after, and then we'll get down the information?
Absolutely, we can take a look at it. It may be, I'm not sure if it's a old security
I was
light.
wondering if that was, but it sounds to me like it's.
But if it's a NIPSCO one, we can contact NIPSCO. If it's anything to do with our lighting, we can actually take care of it too. So
Okay.
please give me the address and contact.
So we'll forward that to engineering department, and then if the person that asked this question can come up and talk to Mark after the meeting, we can get more information on it.
Mayor, final question. Can you provide a status on Boy Scout Road?
It's open. I tell you what, even in the neighborhood we're in now, we toyed with traffic changes. And I think, and this isn't a district with a lot of crime, obviously, we have crime unfortunately, but sometimes when we run into areas that are experiencing a crime wave, or maybe too much traffic, or the traffic's not paying attention to the stop signs, or it's just constant speeding, it's unsafe, I toyed with traffic in different parts of the city. And I always talk about South Hammond. I, to this day, think we did the right thing. We shut down 174th, 175th on the west side of Calumet, and we were trying to protect that neighborhood, make it more of like a walled-in community, sort of. And then we made life more difficult for the neighbors in that community to get out. The only way for them to get out to go south on Calumet was to go north to 173rd, go south on Calumet. But more importantly, we made it harder to get into that neighborhood so that cars couldn't shortcut through their neighborhood. And when the traffic goes away, we've seen in other parts of the city that crime stats drop dramatically because people that are in your neighborhood with ill intentions, they hide amongst the traffic. They're casing your house and you have no idea because they're just driving through your neighborhood. You get rid of all that traffic in your neighborhood, then people aren't as comfortable casing the neighborhood, and you don't need to look any further than State Line. Over by Kevin Smith and that area over there, NDLE, Forest Avenue, that whole area, we built the curb for that very reason. And you compare the crime stats from the late 90s and the early 2000s to the crime stats now, and it's night and day. We changed the neighborhood. Why? We stopped the traffic from shortcutting through there. So, I've tried it in some parts of the city. It's very successful. We did one by Jeff Smith's house up there in Caroline, right? Parkview, excuse me. On Parkview, we blocked off traffic that used to leak off of Indianapolis Boulevard and cut through to try to avoid the 5 Points intersection. It would just fly right through the neighborhood. And they'd pop out on Calumet and go about their merry way, which is fine. Saves them 1.5 minutes. But Smitty's neighborhood, that neighborhood has just got constant traffic going through there at all times of the day. Traffic that's going 45 miles an hour, doesn't care if your little kid's on a bike in front of your house, doesn't care if they throw litter out of their car. And then we blocked it on Parkview, night and day.
Lieber Brothers parking too, the
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah, true. But now it's like, you've lived in that neighborhood most of your life, right?
Yeah, my parents still live there. I'm just a few blocks away, but yeah, my mom's still night and day.
Night and day. You guys never really had much crime problems up there, did you?
No.
Obviously you don't now. Cut your ring. Thanks. So anyway, some parts of the city, it works. State Line, Parkview, Caroline, that whole area. Some parts we did it, 174th and 175th, and I had a revolt from the neighborhood. Mayor, it's taking me a minute and a half extra every day. And you're like, yes, it takes you a minute and a half extra to get to where you need to go, but we're stopping all these people from going through your neighborhood. So in 174th and 175th, we did a survey in that neighborhood, and I wanted to know how the neighbors felt in that neighborhood. And they came back, and it was pretty much 50-50. I said, I'm not going to make a permanent change in the neighborhood if it's 50-50. It's got to be overwhelming. And with Boy Scout Road, we used the same philosophy. I polled North Hammond only. I said, North Hammond, these cars are going to your neighborhood. When I'm shortcutting over to Eggwish, I'm going through that neighborhood. I'm using Boy Scout Road, I'm shortcutting. If I'm coming from Eggwish, I'm using that road, and I'm driving through your neighborhood. So how do you feel about it? And they came back actually more against what we did than with. I'm glad that we surveyed. I think that's what a good government would do is, I think I'm doing the right thing, but let's check with the neighbors to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And they said, no, Mayor, we don't think you're doing the right thing. And we said, okay, open the road. We did some repairs to it, and we opened it up, and it's open to this day. I don't necessarily think it was the right move. I don't. I think if I lived in that neighborhood, I would want it shut. I don't live in that neighborhood, and the neighbors didn't feel the same way I did. So we backed off. Yes, ma'am. Hi, Jen.
So repairs to the curb along State Line, is that a city endeavor?
Yeah, that's on our side, State Line.
Okay, because it looks like there was a section that was cut out.
Oh, well, they also have so it started off as a curb, and then because of the flood control project with the Little Cal and trying to get everybody out of the floodplain, they built it more. They called it a wall when it was a curb. Now it's closer to a wall than a curb. It's only, what, 2.5 feet?
It starts at 2.5 feet and goes down to
right.
And it ends at about 169th, I think, for Lawndale.
So that part of it over there is maintained by Little Cal. Right, Little Cal. And the curb going north, that would be on us, right? The curb itself on State Line? Yeah.
That actually started as a curb, which Cal City called a wall, but it wasn't. It was only 6 inches. Then with the Little Cal project to get the entire that segment from Holman to State Line certified, they had to tie into the earthen levee, and that's why it had to be increased. It's basically 3 foot of, it's extra safety measure.
But the question is more, if the curb north of the flood control wall is damaged, whose responsibility is it?
Well, that would be definitely us.
Yeah.
City of Hammond. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll go ahead and take a picture of it and send it.
Yeah, 311.
311.
I think that's the theme of the day, is 311, gets you to the front of the line. But yeah, the curb north of the wall would be us. Thanks. Any other questions?
Mayor.
Yes, sir. Hi, Milo.
Hi, real quick commercial.
Yeah.
The next 10 days at the pavilion are busy. This Friday, we have the Northwest Indiana Symphony. They're going to be at the pavilion at 7:30. It's a free concert. Saturday to Sunday, Mayor's famous Wham.
Yeah. Wham.
Wham.
30-mile bike ride.
So it's the Whiting
10-mile
Hammond-
bike ride, short route.
Short route, right. So it's you're going to go through Whiting, Hammond, Highland, and Munster.
Yeah.
Starts at midnight, ends hopefully before the sun comes up.
You should be done by then. Yeah. If you do the long route, we have like a mandatory turnaround person too. It's for safety reasons. Like if you're going so slow that like we only have a certain amount of time, we have the officers covering the route, so you have a certain pace you have to maintain. It's not super aggressive, but if you're going to do 30 miles, you have to maintain a pace. If not, they have the turnaround person. They're like, turn here, and then you do 10 miles, which is still solid. It's midnight. It's not fun. I mean, it's a blast actually. I love it.
And one more.
50 Cent.
50
I know.
Cent. There you go.
I know.
That's
We have a concert next week. 50 Cent's playing along with Bone Thugs and Harmony and a local artist from Hammond named Thomas Liptak. They're playing next Saturday at the Pavilion. It's going to be a great time. So if you're interested in that, see gowolflake.com, our new website. Huh? Beatles Fest is. So we got a brew fest Friday in downtown Hammond called Cold Roses. And then the next day is Beatles Fest, downtown Hammond. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be at Beatles Fest for a little, and then I got to do the midnight bike ride. So, anybody else? A lot of people got to participate today. I really appreciate it. Legal Aid didn't really. Hey, Legal Aid. How's everything going there?
Good.
Yeah? You guys are right down the street, right?
Right down the street.
173rd Chestnut? 1402. 173rd, right? 1402 173rd. Been open for 15 years.
We're celebrating our 15th anniversary.
How many clients?
Right almost at 5,000.
5,000 people have been helped by the Legal Aid Clinic, Hammond residents that needed legal help. So anyway, I want to thank Councilman Werpel, again, Purdue Northwest for hosting. I want to thank you. I want to thank Tiffany. We were really hurting for a live streamer today. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Good to see you, Jay. This is going to be aired on Go Hammond TV. When you're done, everybody, thank you very much. Our next Mayor's Night Out is in the 1st District, September 4th at the Pavilion of Wolf Lake, outdoor. And we do have a rain date. The rain location is the Lost Marsh Clubhouse, but let's pray for good weather and see you guys at the Pavilion on September 4th. Thank you all. Have a nice day.